on that Puss book recently and I saw a meme that said, a Scot is a Scot even to 100 generations. And I thought, what a load of bollocks. If you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen and ring the notification bell to be told when I upload new videos. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. This video is about two statements. One made me think, and I agreed with it wholeheartedly. The other made me think, but it seemed like total keech. So, in the tradition of good news, bad news, let's start with the second one first. And where better to talk about it than one of my favourite places, the Scottish Crannog Centre in Highland, Perthshire. A Scot is a Scot even to 100 generations. It sounded to me like the sort of thing that folks with Scottish ancestors would say. Did they watch Trainspotting and think, that junkie boy sounds just like my dearly departed grandpappy? When I watch him shoplifting then shooting up, I just know that I belong. I don't think so. There's a more romanticised idea of what is Scotland and what was left behind. I looked at the comments below and sure enough, the first comments I read included things like, according to parish records, my line traces back to 1622 in Perthshire. Ah yes, my beloved Perthshire is indeed special. I am proud Scot, Armstrong Tartan. Robert the Bruce is my 21st great-grandfather. My husband's family were from Blair Castle territory. My mother was a Scottish war bride from Glasgow. And yes, my family from Scotland came here around 1750 and fought in the Revolutionary War for the colonies. We'll come back to that one. Now, I have love for every one of the people who made these comments, and Scotland has love for them too. And don't worry, later on in this video, I'm going to explain our mutual bond. I'm just saying that I don't expect to come across any of these guys I quoted when I'm shopping in Auchterarder Co-op. Now, it's logical that the people who responded to that post are folks who are descended from Scots. Folks who actually live here aren't focused on 100 generations hence or past, but the Scotland of here and now. When we dream of Australia. So what's not logical about the statement? Let's have a look, because that's what brought me here. Let's say one generation is 25 years. That means 100 generations is 2,500 years. That's about the era that's been wonderfully recreated here at the Scottish Crannog Centre. If you want to know more about Crannogs in this fantastic place, then come back and click the link to another one of my videos and that'll be top right. Suffice to say that what we have here is living experimental archaeology in an Iron Age village, wonderfully recreated from the archaeological finds discovered in the Crannogs of Loch Tay in my home of Perthshire. Coming here is like stepping back 100 generations. We understand the people who lived here through archaeological interpretation. The artefacts discovered tell us how they wove cloth, how they cooked, how they worked wood and metal. We can see a butter dish they used, needles they darned with. We can see traces of how they lived their lives. We can work out their tastes and eating habits. Some archaeologists reckon you can even tell whether they supported Celtic or Rangers. In so many ways, they would have been just like us. But when you compare their eating habits to ours 100 generations later, we Scots may have more in common with folks oceans away than we have with those folks who lived in my part of Scotland eons away. Although, Tasting History with Max Miller's where you're going to get that type of information. The folks whose Facebook comments I quoted live on different continents to me. But they probably drink in the same coffee chains I do, watch some of the same sporting events that I do, recognise the global brands that I do. These things would be incomprehensible to the people who 100 generations ago lived where I call home, built crannogs and welcomed the passing of the winter solstice at standing stones a short distance from here. Who were these people? When the Romans arrived, they'd probably have called them Caledoni. It's a word that we recognise today. You just need to play Dougie MacLean's Caledonia to a group of whiskey-loosened Scots to see what a tear in a glass eye looks like. I'm sure the folks who lived here would have a similar emotion, if only they could speak our language. They probably spoke a Brittonic language, and if I could understand them today, they could describe how a few hundred years later they found out what Rome was. 100 generations ago, they weren't Scottish. When Rome occupied much of this island, they'd go from whatever they were to Caledoni, then Picts. It was a few hundred years after the Romans left that Scotland would begin to form. Though these people would call it Alapa, in the new Goidelic language that they adopted. It wasn't our Scotland. They didn't talk like us. They never drank iron brew or ate a roll and square sausage with brown sauce. That's right, civilization hadn't reached them. It'd be another couple of hundred years before the land south of the Forth Clyde line would become part of Scotland. But I'm not sure those people would see themselves as Scots. Further north and west would be the lands where the blonde-haired savage Scandinavian raiders had settled. Much less than 100 generations ago, but they'd never see themselves as Scots. Not for another few hundred years anyway. In the islands to the north, they don't even see themselves as Scots today. 17 generations ago, a king started the idea of Britishness. 4 generations after that, the country of Scotland ceased to exist. I'm just saying, 100 generations. That's a lot of change to imagine that you'd still be the same thing. My son moved to Melbourne. I saw him when I was touring my live show, Scotland Made the World in Australia. Now, at the Aussie shows, there were Scots, there were Australian descendants of Scots, and there were other nationalities as well. But you could tell the difference between Scots and those descended from Scots, because some of the jokes, the Aussie descendants of Scots just didn't get. Did I do the joke about the difference between salt and vinegar and salt and sauce? Yes, I did. Did the descendants of Scots get it? No, they didn't. I made these jokes for Scots. And of course, I'll be doing these jokes all around Scotland as I tour the show Scotland Made the World in 2025 and 2026. So go to www.brucefummey.co.uk for dates and tickets. If I have grandchildren in Australia, I want them to remember that they had Scottish and Guinean heritage. I hope they'll have the opportunity to come back and see where that heritage came from. But they will be Australian. And truth be told, after 100 generations, they probably won't even be that. Years ago, my brother moved to Derbyshire, and on the day that I wrote this script, I asked one of my nieces her nationality. She said English, and then Scottish, and then Sudanese. Her granddad was from Sudan. When I asked the question, I expected her to say British, but no. She was emphatically English. She doesn't sound Scottish. She doesn't think about being Scottish. She doesn't see herself as Scottish. For her, a Scot wasn't even a Scot for one generation. Now, I've got nothing but love for my Sudanese English nieces. although I do hope they get stuffed at the football. Of course, there are folks who live in foreign climes and cling to their Scottish heritage. I've read their comments. Now, I love these people. I love telling them about Scotland. I love showing them around Scotland. I run several group tours a year to do just that. In fact, there's 2 tickets left for the one to come in 2025, and I'll do 3 in 2026. I also do private tours, and you can click the link top right or in the description below, or email alexis@scotlandhistorytours.co.uk if you want to join me. I love being with people as they explore their Scottish roots. I love to see Scotland through their eyes in bright-eyed wonder. And don't get me wrong, I take them to see the hairy Kye and the mountains and glens and standing stones and Culloden. I brought groups here and they love it. And I love them loving it. But here's the thing, and please don't misunderstand me. If you're, and I quote, family from Scotland came here around 1750 and fought in the Revolutionary War for the colonies, are you really Scottish? Your family, indeed, are of Scottish descent. But they kind of stopped being Scottish a long time ago. Maybe when they took up that rebellious cause, I don't know. But certainly, by the time they were calling queues, lines, taps, faucets, breeks, pants, and arses, fannies. And don't think you're getting away with it if you call a lavvy a dunny or a lassie a Sheila. But, and here's the good news, one of the wonderful group of 19 Americans and 1 Kiwi who I brought here a month ago said how the lovely thing is that we all had a shared history. Me, Norrie the driver, the straight couple from Washington, the gay couple from North Carolina. Aye, you didn't see that coming, did you? The farmer from Wellington and the 3 witches from Illinois, Arizona and New England. And don't forget the father and son from Virginia. It was the historical reenactor Dad who said to me, we all have a shared history. In that moment, I realised the truth of that in a way that I'd never done before. In that moment, an ocean seemed small. All the poor spelling, the brash exterior, the driving on the wrong side of the road, and God knows all that positivity and being nice to each other. Who needs that? But in that moment, all the petty differences fell away. 100 generations ago, our ancestors lived like this. They weren't Scottish, because 100 generations ago, there was no Scotland. In 100 generations' time, there'll be no Scotland. There'll be no Canada, America, Australia, New Zealand or France. None of these places existed 100 generations ago, and it's absurd to think that they will 100 generations from now. Some of you won't like me saying this, but it kind of puts the 2014 referendum and Brexit into perspective. Of course, our shared history is more recent than this place. 2 brothers may have stood by this loch side, wishing a last goodbye. One had set his course in a new world. Another determined to make things work here. Having grown up, protected by their parents in the same house, they now face different risks and challenges in forging their future. But they share the same history. How many times was that scene repeated in lochs and glens and by shorelines? It's only 10 generations since that Facebook commentator's Scottish ancestor rebelled to become part of a new country. It's only 6 generations since Canadian Confederation, 5 generations since the Federation of Australia, 3 generations since New Zealand passed the Statute of Westminster Adoption Act 1947. That's how close they are. And yet for some reason, They still won't let us win at the rugby. These guys aren't Scottish. If they were Scottish, they'd let folks win at the rugby. It's a national characteristic. 3 generations. Many people have left these shores to seek riches or adventure, or through conviction, compulsion, or desperation. After 3 generations, their descendants may not be Scottish, but we do have a shared history to celebrate. And I, for one, take joy in the wonderful sense of bonding when folks across an ocean laugh together, dance together, and investigate that shared history. It's what I do. And every day I count my blessings. I'm so glad that we have a shared history, and I couldn't be happier to be from Scotland now. I don't know the future, but 100 generations from now, I'm pretty sure Scotland will no longer exist. But its landscape will. It's my home. It's my favourite place in the world. 100 generations from now, it'll have changed little, although the people who are left might. Whatever they call themselves then, I'm sure they'll love it every bit as much as I do. If you want me to show you around, then give me a shout. I've made other videos about the wonderful place here, and there's one of them coming up on screen now. Support the channel by clicking top right to become a Patreon member, or buy me a coffee in the description below. In the meantime, ha mé dóchas gún bí lá málaigh. Siar é an drasta.